between Russia and Ukraine. It started in 2022 and has been going on up until now. So far, anywhere from 300,000 people to 500,000 people have been killed due to the conflict, and even more have been injured or displaced. The U.S. has been a major factor in this war, as it has contributed to the peace negotiations and the military support for Ukraine. In fact, Russia plans to meet with the U.S. at a summit to discuss roads to peace with Ukraine. However, they do not plan on inviting the EU, despite their close relations to Ukraine and their significant impact on the war. This leads us to the question, should the EU be invited to the U.S.-Russia summit on the Russia-Ukraine war? And the answer is a definite no, because of Russian opposition, efficiency, and a lack of meaning. Firstly, Russian opposition. Russia has made their opinion on the EU extremely clear. According to an article by CNS, or the Center for New American Security, the Kremlin has long harbored animosity towards the bloc. More specifically, they've made their opinion on the EU joining peace talks even more clear. According to according to a Russian minister named Sergei Lavrov stated, "I don't know what they, European officials, would do at the negotiating table. If they're going to sit at the negotiating table with the aim of continuing the war, then why invite them there?" This means that if the EU were to join these peace talks, then Russia would show the same animosity towards the EU, which would increase hostility, disagreement, and tensions. This would overall lead to, in the best case scenario, a peace deal being delayed, and even could mean that no peace deal happens at all, which would increase death counts as the violence would continue. Secondly, efficiency. The EU is composed of 27 different member states. That means 27 different political leaders and 27 different agendas. The EU being invited to the US-Russia summit would mean that not just 2 leaders would have to agree on this deal, an additional 27 would have to. In the past, the EU has struggled to make efficient decisions. Because of conflicting opinions from different members. In fact, according to an article published by Reuters in 2025, the European Union countries have shelved plans to approve a new climate change target after pushback from governments including France and Germany. They did this again in 2025, according to AI Invest, while the EU's foundational goal is to promote stability and through economic and political integration. Their decision-making process, often hampered by divergent national interests, has led to delays in imposing sanctions on their G7 counterparts. In both of these situations, the EU delayed important decisions because they couldn't come to a successful agreement between the 27 members. While this might be acceptable when we're just talking about the specifics of policies, a war, however, causes thousands of deaths the longer it goes on. Therefore, involving the EU in these critical peace talks would mean that the death count increases by the thousand the longer the debate between the EU members goes on. Lastly, a lack of meaning. The U.S. has been the primary funding for U.S. military support, Ukraine military support. According to SIPRI, or the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, most of the major arms provided to Ukraine has come from the United States, 45%, followed by Germany, 12%, and Poland, 11%. Because of their major contributions to the Ukraine war effort, they have a lot of leverage and weight in the negotiations. Because of their major contributions, they also have the ability to directly shape Ukraine's negotiating position, as if they were to pull their military support at any time, then Ukraine would be forced into a deal with Russia completely on Russia's terms. This is something the EU cannot do, as they do not provide as they do not have the same kind of leverage or weight in negotiations. Therefore, including them in the summit would only complicate matters while not adding any truly meaningful influence. Again, delaying peace and meaning more deaths occur. So, in conclusion, the EU should not be a part of the US-Russia summit on the Russia-Ukraine war because it would mean Russia would be more hostile during peace talks. It would delay a peace deal because of the numerous hoops that the EU would have to jump through. And thirdly, it would not have an actual meaning or provide any actual influence. So this all would lead to delays in a peace deal or a peace deal not even being reached at all, which only increases the amount of violence and destruction that happens from this war. So maybe not all of your friends are happy about the restaurant decision, but at least everyone gets to eat. And most importantly, everyone gets to eat quickly.